Hello again, Chris Lee and Chase Robinson here for Week 11 Power Rankings in SEC football. We'll start at the bottom as we always do. Mississippi State at 16. Bulldogs have been here for a while. Kind of same story. We like a lot of what Michael Van Buren brings the offense, but boy, that defense is pretty bad. But good enough to get a win over UMass and stop a losing streak that dated back to opening day, Chase.
Yeah, they needed that. I mean, to get a win over UMass is good for them. Yeah, I do like some things Michael Van Buren's doing. I think he has a very bright future, and we'll see what they can do with him moving forward. But yeah, the defense has been a definite struggle for the Bulldogs this year.
Number 15, Kentucky. The Cats played without Max Hairston, De'Aaron Jackson, J.J. Weaver. Barian Brown left the game in the second quarter and changed quarterbacks. Gavin Wimsatt in Kentucky made a run, fell just short in Knoxville. But you wonder, with all those guys out, what was the buy-in going to look like in Knoxville on Saturday night? Felt like a fold and really get blown out kind of game. That's not what Kentucky did, which I think is your feigning hope for what's left of the season.
Yeah, I thought it was a good performance. You saw pregame what it looked like as far as injuries. Oh my goodness, what is going to happen to Kentucky? But yeah, I thought they responded well. Guys stepped up. Again, they held Tennessee from doing some big things, and in the end, Dylan Sampson just did what he does for Tennessee. But yeah, I thought Kentucky played well due to the circumstances and what could have been, I feel like, for the Wildcats. So yeah, but not the season we would have thought so far for Kentucky. It just they've got a couple good wins, but then they have some losses that you're like, this is not the Kentucky we thought we would see coming into this year.
Number 14, Auburn. I'm out of stuff to say here.
Yeah, it's tough. It's you almost don't know what to say when it comes to Auburn. So many chances, so many opportunities. They can't finish. They can't get the job done. Just critical mistakes. Things that you would think at this point of the season would be cleaned up, but they're not. And yeah, a lot of questions around Auburn right now at this point of the year.
Number 13, Oklahoma. It was Maine, but Oklahoma came out offensively to the tune of, I think 630 yards. Javante Barnes went over 200. The schedule's been brutal. The injuries have been brutal. You just needed a break and something good to happen. They go to Missouri in a game I think is just really weird. I'm going to throw this at you. Oklahoma now has 5 wins. Not been a pretty season, not been the season anybody wanted, but they get to 6, Chase. They get bowl eligible, and that gets them 15 practices. And I think that would be maybe for Oklahoma bigger than the bowl game itself.
Yeah, that's very true. And, I think they can string that together. I mean, yeah, look, not a lot has gone right for Oklahoma. A lot has gone wrong. Just unfortunate things, unfortunate injuries. Just the way the season is played out is not what we would have thought, not what we expected. You get a win. Now you go into a bye week, and I feel like it's really good to clean some things up, maybe get some guys healthy, and try to finish out strong in that section of Missouri, Alabama, and LSU. But I think the bye week does come at a good time for Oklahoma now.
All right, speaking of bad breaks, my goodness, you feel sorry for Florida at this point. Billy Napier had a 10-3 lead on Georgia with Javon Marshall, their top corner, out. And then the DJ Lagway hamstring injury happens. Florida gives it a go, but it just wasn't going to be in the cards with that passing offense at that point. Man, I would have loved to have seen what Florida could have done healthy this year. I think at this point, I can't think. I don't know the severity of DJ Lagway's injuries. We do this on Monday morning, but anytime you hear hamstring and see the guy getting carted off, that's not a good omen.
No, it's not. And yeah, you would like to know what this Florida team could have been, because I feel like, look, the way they've been playing, it's been much better, and but to have the injuries in that game, and yeah, I thought Florida came out and was playing so good and were doing the things they needed to do in that game, both offensively and defensively, but injuries have just been a problem. And you hate to see it, because the season, a lot of doom and gloom on Florida, especially after the opener. But they're playing so much better right now, and yeah, you hate to see the injuries hit them the way that they have, because the season could, I feel like, look different if they haven't had these injuries, and maybe they could string some wins together here.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From earliest odds to live in-game betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen, with the world's largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, NHL, to entertainment and political props. Head to BetOnline today. Get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. Number 11, Arkansas. Chase, I sure thought after that really impressive win over Tennessee that this season was headed in a different direction. Since then, 2 lopsided losses at home, sandwiched with the win at Mississippi State. I think Arkansas still has some things to play for. I still think getting bowl eligible would be a little bit of a victory for Sam Pittman. And I still think that this is a team that could win 2 out of 3. I think you could beat Louisiana Tech, maybe win at Missouri. Then you get to 7-5, and at that point, it's a good season. So a lot of stuff to play for Arkansas, but that defense has got to get fixed.
Yeah, it does. They're having trouble stopping, and we saw how many points Ole Miss was able to put up on them this week. And you look back, LSU scored 34. Before that, it was, they gave up 19 to Tennessee, 21 to A&M. So you felt like the defense was playing good at that middle part of the season, but yeah, they gave up a lot to Ole Miss. And this is an Arkansas team that it's been such a roller coaster. It's hard to know really what you're going to get any given Saturday. But and you're right. I could see them maybe rattling off a couple of here in this last stretch, but I think that's going to be big for Arkansas to be able to get some momentum and try to finish out going bowling. I mean, I think that's what's on Arkansas's mind. Let's get to that 6 wins, 7 wins, and get to a bowl game and see what happens after that.
All right, in a season that's getting increasingly weird, I don't know what to expect from Missouri. I mean, 10-2. If you go 10-2 and that's still technically on the table, I don't think it gets Missouri in the playoff, but just for argument's sake, it gets you in the conversation. Now what you got ahead, Oklahoma at South Carolina, at Mississippi State, Arkansas, all those games are winnable in their own right, although South Carolina maybe not as much now. I'm just really curious to see what Missouri gets at quarterback going forward, and if you can – gosh, Luther Burden. I mean, I just thought his season was going to be so much better than it's gone. That's just a weird spot for Eli Drinkwitz in Missouri, although, again, team is already bowl eligible, so more to play for beyond the regular season.
Yeah, they're a team that, they're not what we kind of expected as far as the guys that would be standing out on the field. I agree. I thought Luther Burden's season would look much different than it has. Look, I definitely think this is a team that can, that can win the games, some games here down the stretch. You mentioned their games, Oklahoma, South Carolina State, and Arkansas. Like those are games Missouri can compete in, can win. Wouldn't surprise me at all. But the quarterback situation is big. What are they going to do moving forward offensively? How are they going to generate offense? Those are the concerns for me right now. And can they put a chip on their shoulder and finish out strong, or are they going to let these injuries and problems weigh them down? I think that's a big question for the Tigers.
Okay, I've got a problem with what we've done at number 9. And before I tell you who that is and why I've got a problem with it, I've also been telling you about Future Fans recently. The way they help little kids become big fans by understanding football is so cool. If you have ever tried to explain football to a little kid, you know how hard it is. And the dads who invented this have figured it out for the rest of us. Future Fans is the easy button for getting your kid to watch the game with you on Saturday. Their stuff is tremendous. I've got the kit. You can see it behind me for $50 retail price. I think it is a steal for what you get. It is well made. I have had multiple fathers tell me about using that with their sons and daughters to get their kids interested in football. Next thing you know, your kids are begging you to watch football. Give it a week or two. Your child, your grandchild will be doing the same. Go to Future Fans right now. Use the code SEC for 10% off. Get as a birthday gift, Christmas gift. You can thank us later, help those who help the show, and support our partners at Future Fans. All right, I said I had a problem with this next one. I think South Carolina is a spot or two too low here. And the composite that I do, Carolina's moved into the top 15. I know a lot of that is dependent on turnovers, but my goodness, if you watch this team Saturday night and the way it just dismantled A&M with the running game, you have to feel like if Carolina can bottle that up, it is not going to be a team you want to face going down the stretch.
No, you're right. I agree with you. This is a dangerous team. They do some really good things. I really like what I saw from them on Saturday night at home against A&M. I feel like though it's been and I know they really want that LSU game back. It did not go their way down the stretch. You got the back-to-back losses to Ole Miss, to Alabama, and then the big wins against Oklahoma and Texas A&M. You can tell they're playing like, hey, we're out to show the world that we're a good football team, and they are. But I feel like those three losses are kind of showed a little inconsistency with the way that they played in those games, and but I still think they're a very good team. Like it would surprise me they keep winning, they're going to go up in this. But I like South Carolina.
Number 8 Vanderbilt, Commodore 6-3 and bowl eligible heading into 3 games to play just the way we drew it up.
Yeah, I mean, and they didn't play their best game Saturday and still found a way to win. And I think that says a lot about this Vanderbilt team, that they don't give up. They're going to fight till the end. Diego Pavia is a game changer. What I loved about Pavia is on the leveraging penalty that was called against Auburn. Pavia was ready to go. As soon as that flag came out, he grabbed his helmet, was headed to the field. He was ready to go again. And I think that just kind of sums up Diego Pavia and who he is and the kind of player he is. And him and Eli Stowers, dangerous combination. I really like this Vanderbilt team.
Number 7, Ole Miss. Another one I think we have probably underslotted Ole Miss. I get it that the Rebels have not accomplished much in terms of who they've beaten, but my goodness, the way Ole Miss beat down Arkansas without Trey Harris, finding different guys who can contribute and putting up 600 and how many ever yards it was, I think over 10 yards a play maybe, was super impressive. And I'm very interested to see if this is a team that maybe has gotten it together just as the season was about to collapse.
Yeah, I feel like Ole Miss is starting to click, and you brought up a good point of the Trey Harris injury and the fact that other guys were able to step up. I mean, to me, that's a sign of a good team when you have other guys who are going to step up to fill the place of maybe your star or one of the stars. And I thought Ole Miss did a good job of that. Like, to put up 63 on a good Arkansas team says a lot. Ole Miss can score points. We know that they can make stops defensively. Can they do that consistently? I think is the question. The Georgia game is going to be huge for Ole Miss. What can they prove in this game? Lane Kiffin has had trouble winning the big games. Can he do it this week? And I think that'll show a lot about where this Ole Miss team is at after this Georgia game.
All right. We've got number 6 and number 5, Alabama. I'm just going to group those together since they play this week in what'll be kind of an elimination game. We'll preview it separately, but LSU had a week off after the loss to Texas A&M, and Alabama also had a week off after maybe its best performance of the season. So I don't know what we have to add about these teams given that they were off, but can't wait to see that one on Saturday night in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, it's going to be huge, and obviously they won't be 6 and 5 next week with them playing each other. This is a huge game, huge momentum game. I feel like for both teams, South seeking some momentum for the rest of the season and trying to get a spot in the playoff. So this game is huge, and for both of these teams in multiple ways for LSU and Alabama.
Number 4, Texas A&M. I don't think Mike Elko is going to have any issue getting the attention of his guys after that disaster in Columbia.
Yeah, it just did not look like the team that I've been watching from Texas A&M this year. I mean, it was just it did not. It wasn't a smooth, clean game like I feel like we've seen a lot from the Aggies, and so yeah, I there's no doubt in my mind they're going to rebound well from this. I mean, that's just the kind of team this is in A&M. And you look at their stretch coming up, and you got New Mexico State, Auburn, and Texas. And I know they're probably looking ahead of that Texas game, but, Auburn can do some good things, even though it hasn't come out in wins. But I think this A&M team is not finished yet. They got some more work to do, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do.
All right, number 3, Tennessee. I feel like the Vols motto is almost do just enough. I mean, just another mediocre, that's not even the word, bad offensive performance in the first half. I think they had 7 points. Kentucky came out with the hair on fire in that one. Yeah. But the problem with playing Tennessee is they're just not going to allow enough points. And I thought that Nico had one of his better games. Maybe they found some easier throws for him. It wasn't a super impressive win if you're Tennessee, but just winning in this league is hard to do, and the Vols did that on Saturday.
Yeah, they did what they had to do to win, and Kentucky, caused some problems for them, but in the end, Tennessee won the game. That's what good teams do, and I think Tennessee has some more of those ahead of them.
Okay, Texas checking in at number 2, where I think it was last week, had an off week after beating Vanderbilt and Nashville, which is probably good. Texas was starting to get banged up with Wingo and in the secondary a little bit with Makuba. So I think Texas, now got a game with Florida at home, which won't be nearly as tough as we thought with Lagway's absence. And I think Texas probably liked where that bye week was, given how it was starting to get nicked up and seeing some key guys out.
Yeah, it could have come at a better time for the Longhorns, and yeah, they have a chance now at Florida. And look, this is a good Texas team. There's a reason we got them at number 2, and I think they've got a lot of football left to be played.
Number 1, Georgia. Still feel like we haven't seen Georgia's best, except for very brief halves at a time. You got to get Carson back playing better. Part of me just says he's not going to throw 8 picks over his next 3 games, and yet they still win with him. Yeah, I wonder if this is the Georgia team that just gives you its best when its back is up against the wall, and we're about to find out in Oxford Saturday. Although I think that's a game that they can lose and still be in the playoff.
I think so too, but we haven't seen them put 4 quarters together. Kirby Smart keeps saying it. That's what they got to do. They got to put 4 quarters together. We just haven't seen that really from this Georgia team yet. And when they do, they're going to be very dangerous. This is a very good team. And the turnovers are an issue, but yeah, I agree. I don't think it's something that is just going to continually to persist for Carson Beck. That has been a problem, but yeah, I think we'll see him clean that up, and Georgia again puts a full game together. Watch out, because it's gonna be a tough night.
We'll be here Saturday night to talk about Georgia, Ole Miss, and everything else you see in the SEC. So hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and enable your notifications so you know when we do it. We got basketball this week as we were pushing out a lot of basketball content. We got previews of all the games, so hope you'll check those out. Caroline.Smith at southeastern14.com is where you direct your advertising inquiries. We do reach millions a year. For Chase Robinson, I'm Chris Lee. You've been watching Southeastern 16, presented by Bet Online.